Don't know where you are, what time it is, but you should be here right now watching this game as these two Titans collide in this tournament. Probably a finals preview. The two best looking teams so far and the best looking teams in their regions, T1 and JDG. There's a peek at Licorice there to say hi to everybody. I am so hyped for this matchup. These teams have looked incredibly good. I suspect JDG has been just a tad bit better. And I also suspect that with the news of the patch, if you haven't seen it yet, they are completely changing wave timings and how the game is going to be played. So if the LPL wants to show out and if they think that they have the best version of up-tempo League of Legends, which I do believe they have, and I know that they believe they have, they're going to put it on Showcase today. So I expect to see a show from JDG. I want to see up-tempo. I want to see all the plays, all the time, everything. Now, in their way, T1, the gargantuans of T1 with Faker in the mid lane with Nautilus, and we've seen how strong this pick is. And they've combined it with Kindred. They're saying, you know what, Nautilus is a playmaker. It can help get a jungler ahead. We're going to play a carry jungler. Owner is no slouch on these kind of champions. The trouble with Kindred sometimes in these compositions is it becomes very, very difficult to actually master exactly when you cast this ultimate, right? It's one of the weaker ultimates in the game. Sometimes it feels completely broken. You can do some incredible things, but those opportunities they kind of fall in your lap. You can't create them. And at this level, these teams are creating, and you better believe that they're going to look for a plan to beat Kindred. But we've seen this composition, right? The idea we are going to scale in the bot lane with Aphelios. We're going to give you whichever power pick you think you want, and we're going to snatch up Aphelios in the draft. And we're just going to scale. And you see, we've got two beefcakes right here, Nautilus and Cassante, with the Kindred carry, going to be well positioned, going to have good push in both of these lanes. So Kindred should be able to get their marks. That said, I absolutely love this composition from JDG, right? Gragas has been incredibly strong. Wukong, especially at level 6, and especially against Kindred, can have a very good answer to the ultimate, right? If they're winning this fight, Kindred's forced to ultimate, then you've got Braum follow-up, Gragas to knock people out of the Lamb's Respite, Annie to continue with an AoE stun, Wukong with AoE stun. Even Chompers can join in, and with everyone being low, Jinx becomes a very, very enticing ultimate prospect facing all of these low health bars after the balance. So going to be an exciting game. I do prefer JDG's composition, and like I said, I expect them to ball out, knowing that this is going to be their last tournament where they get to play this way. They've been mastering it for 5 years, or they've been challenging the world to say, I bet we can do it better. And the truth is, they have been doing it better. Now check out this play. Owner finding an early engage here, but it's turned on him, and Knight gets the angle. Potentially miscommunication with Faker, or saying, hey, I'm just strong enough to do this myself. And he certainly was strong enough to win, using the dash to position to the other side to make sure that Wukong's taking damage. Now notice on that gank, it's worth talking about, they did it at the Wolf camp, right? The Wolf camp and the Raptors camp are two of the hardest hitting ones. Specifically, the Wolves are the only camp that's actually faster than players at 0 items. So when you are trying to run away from Wolves, they're actually going to catch you and hit you. So if you can find a good position here, and for example, this aggro is already on him, Owner comes in, makes sure that after he rides the Blast Cone that he's using Choggle champions only to connect with that hit, but unfortunately perfectly timed means he doesn't get anything else there, and a good rotation from Knight, and suddenly that's going to flip the script on this matchup where Kindred, clearly had a plan and wanted to dominate. It wasn't quite on the same page as Nautilus. Annie willing to give up a couple minions and to give up a negative wave state in order to make that play, and obviously a win for there. Now Kanavi's ward right here, I've spoken about this before. We've scouted these Chinese teams. They like to leave it right there. I prefer it to be one Teemo deeper in, right? It's still out of range from control wards that would be in that bush, but it will see people that actually make it through that path, despite there not being a camp, right? So that just a little bit, if you go an extra half second and get that better ward, you might get information that really matters. And especially against these Chinese teams, if they're going to keep on placing that ward, then I want junglers to take unknown paths, right? Just don't cross through here. You're fine to go Kindred into Krugs, jump over the wall, and then come over and actually fight for the Western Quadrant again as it respawns. These respawns are coming in 2 minutes, 15 seconds, right? So every time that you take a camp as a jungler, you just want to make a little mark in your head. When is this coming back up? Do they know? Do I know? Who can contest for it? Now, we do see Cole versus Cole in bot lane. Aphelios getting slightly better CS right now. Showing a little bit of the range advantage here. Now, here's an example, right? Don't actually see owner. Someone actually have to be hovered on the map to see that play. So, for example, Kindred able to take that camp, potentially not get spotted. We see it. They might not see it. Ooh, nice try by Keria, ducking into the dragon bush to try to get that ward. Owner's going to suspect that wards have been placed, but he really shouldn't because it's just Wukong that's here. Braum has just recalled from lane and has not come back out on the map. So this sweeping lens was meant to find this ward, and he realistically should have tried to get it. Now, another change that's coming up in the patch, you'll be able to kill that. Those wards will linger for vision for 2 seconds now, so that your team is better at killing them. Sweeping lens is going to be changed to 6 seconds instead of 10, and it's going to be on a 2-charge system with a longer charge up. So that is one of the things amongst many that's going to change in the game. For you when you load in today to play. There's going to be a whole new world when you go to play. I mean, you've got all the items. I highly recommend everybody check out Static Shiv because the items it builds with are actually incredibly strong. And Static Shiv is going to give an immediate fast spike. So champions like Kog'Maw that normally have a decent trade window, but then didn't have really good itemization to continue with. I think Kog'Maw is going to be one of the huge winners. Lots of on-hit abilities in the patch. And on top of that, the fact that Static Shiv is going to be incredibly efficient to buy. But we're not here yet. We're not here yet. We are still in this game. We are in the old patch, duking it out in 13.8. Where we have the crit strike marksman duking it out as they have all tournament. Aphelios and Jinx. Take your pick of which scaling marksman you want, and then decide whether or not you want to take Lucian against it to try to beat them. Ooh, Faker missing out on the cannon because of the drip style of that E damage. A mistake that he does not want to make very often. All right, so JDG getting a little bit of bot pressure. They get the stacked wave, all right? This was a rebound wave from showing up to the lane second. They push it in, and they use the time to jump out into the river and claim themselves the dragon. This is something that can happen when you go for your recall. Enemy team can prioritize going to dragon, which is what JDG has done. Saying, hey, we're going to use your recall timer to get a little bit more of a rebounded wave in. Show there for a moment to know that you're weak. And then as we stack the wave, there's really no good option for T1. Do you contest dragon and let the wave crash? Or do you collect the wave and give the dragon? Most times, probably 90 times out of 100, they're going to let that dragon sit. The one exception will being if their jungler is ahead, they may go and face off, and if they have mid prio but not bot, they might go and get a little face off by the dot bush, and if it's going okay, then they'll call over the marksman as well. A play that I despise, but happens nonetheless. Now here we go. First major rotation of the game. 8 minutes and 30 seconds. We have level 6 on Aphelios because Thresh roamed. This means that level 6 on this carry means that he can pop over. Kindred is going to put their efforts and the Rift Herald in the top lane. This is a designed play meant to get 3 plates or 4 plates on top. Now check out these positions. You want to know this, where you can stand to stay out of vision, and the answer is behind Gromp. Now Kanavi opting to just duck out and say, hey, we'll just let our top laners soak up what they can, take some amount of damage. Guma taking 2 turret shots, which is a lot for an AD carry at this point in the game, but lucky for him, he's got red gun. Watch out for the Jinx rocket. It just misses. He doesn't even aim it at the turret. That's a mistake. But all things considered, who do you think won this play? Perfectly used Rift Herald. They're going to get all 5 turrets and they're going to rotate. We get a flash here, but look what Jinx has done for themselves as well. JDG 369 is going to pick this up without bringing any extra resources from AD carry, without splitting any amount of XP, Jinx has been down here dutifully plugging away, and Jinx damage on turrets, I mean, you can see the CS difference right now, climbing up to 10 or to 8, and they get this push in and gets a back off. So a tremendous amount of solo golden experience going the way of Jinx, and you can see that she's bought herself a half-level lead over Aphelios by staying bottom. Now, that said, T1 is happy with the play. They want that lane gone, right? They want to push in. Now that what they're going to do is unleash Nautilus on the map. K'Sante is going to be the one holding more of the lanes down. Again, another change that's going to be happening today. The minion waves are showing up. But besides the very first one, the waves are going to show up at the exact same time now, which means that you're not going to be able to oscillate mid and top the way that you used to. You used to be able to pick up mid, hard shove it, and then roam top and catch it before more than one minion die under turret. You won't be able to do that anymore. So right now, this is the last time that we're going to see K'Sante pick up mid and still be in time to pick up top as well. It means that they have lost no resources. Nautilus has been able to spend that time on the map, creating threat, and it allows them to position themselves as they will. Now, worth noticing, K'Sante, because it's such a long lane now, again, Gragas doesn't need to be there, right? He can help. He can do the same thing Nautilus just did. I'm going to go help my team. I'm going to help set up, protect our beaches at the very least, and if I see a pick, maybe I'll go for it, and I can go back later to pick up this wave after K'Sante goes for a push. Now, K'Sante is going to use this opportunity to go into the quadrant. He actually steps in and fake wards. That motion is made to counter any ward that Gragas might have left in the tri-bush, right? So he took one step in and pretended that he warded into the beach bush there, just over the top. Now, Kindred waiting here. Expect to see Gragas ultimate perfectly used and just enough to get him out. That's incredible. Owner trying to flash. Should have tried to flash forward over the wall, right? Take that angle towards the turret. That would have secured himself the kill, but unable to get it. And JDG 369 kind of miraculously staying alive here. And this is a big deal, right? Because that whole time, K'Sante and Kindred got nothing, right? That's 30 seconds they just invested into not getting a kill. The wave is in an uncontrollable spot. You have to leave as Kindred. You have to let K'Sante just kind of do his thing here. Now, that being said, 369 doesn't actually have that ward in the tri-bush, so he doesn't know that Kindred or K'Sante is leaving, so you see him put himself out a ward. K'Sante actually dropping that control ward in the tri-bush. I hate that play. That lingering vision right there, not going to matter. That is, you're giving resources to the enemy team. That's 105 gold transitioned in this game, not to mention some experience as well. It's not that it does nothing, right? You will see at some point whether or not someone's over there, but with Dragon imminent, you're not really looking for teleport plays on this team. Maybe with Nautilus on a flank, you can find the right angle if you can get an ultimate onto Jinx. But that ward, I don't think is going to stick around. Not to mention that, but when you teleport to control wards, it reveals you, and that is not the effect that you're looking for when you're trying to create a flank with someone like Nautilus. Now you see them posturing and fighting for vision. Close one, missing, just dodging out ever so slightly on that thresh hook. Doing it on instincts as well. Look at that range, man. These guys know. They're tiptoeing on the edge. On the edge. So let's see, Nautilus is stepping up. Knight sees his window, flashes in. It was T1 that thought that they were hunting, and they positioned and didn't realize that they were in range of Knight's flash ultimate. And JDG is going to steamroll that fight. And because of the time in the game where we're at, what that's going to mean for the map, it means extra plates, it means Dragon. I actually don't like that they're taking Dragon right now. They had a moment to instead swing this lead up to top lane and get themselves another kill worth of gold, plus get that turret down. I probably didn't need everyone to do it. Now, one read that they might be making, Korean teams are actually pretty famous of going to Dragon even when they're late if they think that you're taking too long. So could be a meta read. They could be making that swap saying, hey, we understand that we could be getting more on the map right now if we split up, but we won't be getting more faster. And there's no way to get this mid wave in. There's no wave existing here. So missing out on some plates and the Rift Herald in exchange for Dragon. I see the reasoning. If I'm T1 though, I want to punish this, right? You got the timer. You realized that because Dragon fell that quickly, you know that at least the carry and the jungler went there, which means that you can go straight towards the top side and fight for this Rift Herald. Not nearly as important as the first one. As we saw, the first one was able to take down a 400 resistance turret by getting the true damage at 1.5 plates. That got them first brick. It got them tempo on the map, and the lead that, despite getting blown up in that fight, they're still only half 1,000 gold in the deficit. Now check out this ward. Being placed by JDG. Beats all the control wards except one that's on their own side of the map. Now, a lot of people don't like to place control wards here because they're not as rehearsed because of the Ocean Soul, right? You're only getting this 1 out of 6 games anyways, and it's so late in the game, but people should go in and practice, put a target dummy on the top on either side, put 4 dummies in, and place a ward and see if you can see all 4 of them. Get to know that angle. What can you take? What vision, what angle do you need so that you can see everything in there? Put a little challenge. If anyone wants to take it, get a little screenshot, pop it into the comments, or come to gigagamingacademy.com. I will share it there, or put it on the Discord if anyone wants to take up that challenge. Anyone who's watching this video can get a free coaching session if you guys are interested. gigagamingacademy.com. Use code SEASON2023 in the bio. I highly recommend doing the performance psychology. I think it's the most important thing you can do. But also happy to work with position coaches and work with any level. So if you're that type, if you want to get a little bit better, you want to beat your friends or climb, get to that rank that you haven't been able to, happy to see everybody here. But let's get back to game action. As we pull out of the lull state, when all the objectives go down, it's interesting to see how some of these teams react, right? Most of the time, you're just going to see them fan out and go back into farming mode, but that's exploitable, right? The fact that you know that that's the case means it's a great time for death bushes. Something that Fnatic did well way back in the day, and they've lost the touch for. A death bush, yes, you can do it if you have vision on something like the Baron pit, and Baron is up, and you know that you've controlled all the vision. Yes, you can set a death bush, but the thing is, they're looking for it then. They know that you have to contest Baron, right? Because they know it, they're going to be much more cautious. They're going to use farsight alterations. They're going to use abilities into bushes. But after lull states, that can be the best time to actually just jump into a bush together. Make it look like your whole team recalled, right? Be sure that nothing saw you. It is imperative that nothing saw you. But if you're positive that you have won an area and the objective goes down and everybody goes off to do their own thing, that is a great opportunity to set up a death bush, 4 or 5 people, and try to get lucky, right? Like at this level, those small undulations in strategy can mean the difference between finding a pick, not finding a pick, or even just winning a game, because you might find something for free. Wukong showing his strength in the jungle, why this champion is so contested, even when he's kind of scuffed for values. Just the kit is so good and still an incredibly strong champion on just 1 item. Now we do see a teleport here from Annie saying, hey, we can actually fight for this. Kanavi's going to engage right now. As teleport is arriving, they use the Thresh Lantern to get out. They spot out the play and say, you know what? It's better for us to back out. What I do love is that JDG was not waiting for anything. Knight is just on point with his instincts right now, finding fantastic windows here. Absolutely love the tempo that JDG is playing with right now. They smell weakness. They see an inch and they take a mile. Saying like, yep, that's enough. I can make this play. Now check out this teleport. Keeping the Rift Herald alive. This is a neat play that you can do. All right, so to explain it, normally the blue team got the wave in, right? And because of that, the Rift Herald is going to be susceptible for longer. But let's pause on that while we see the fight. Braum showing his strength in a fight like this, putting up that wall. But yeah, if the Rift Herald is going to be strung out like that, it's very easy for them to clear it. If you teleport to it and you wait for the next minion wave to come in, Or at least you just get to wait for your team 4 seconds that they get to kill the enemy wave as well. Oh, look at the instincts by Zeus trying to find a window to get the Kanavi. Faker goes in, but has he bitten off too much? The Jinx rocket crit, and that's the difference in that fight, which is a huge amount of AoE damage. Tough to imagine that was actually lethal there. But oh my goodness, he got the most of it. You know what? Merc treads an Abyssal Mask. That is going to be your weakness as Nautilus, is a Jinx rocket coming in, and that crit, not only does it kill him, but it delivers the damage to his team, which means everybody's a little bit chunked for this. And JDG will easily have inside track here. A little bit of miscommunication on T1's part as far as exactly how long that tower was going to be alive and how much damage. I like that Faker's looking for that play, but just slightly off. Now, respect to T1. T1 has shown that they are more than capable of doing counter Baron plays, right? We're losing on the map. That's fine. Where's the other team going to go? They're going Dragon. Well, maybe we'll just go straight to the Baron pit. So Jinx is showing respect to that, ulting the pit. Now, Faker, I actually would have liked to see him go forward here. Oh. That does... Aftershock falling down. The shield coming down. All because of the travel time on the Lantern. And frankly, if he had stepped forward, he would have taken less damage. Step forward, drop the aggro, then take the Lantern would have been the best play there. But instead, he doesn't. And the game is at 6-1. Now, 6-1... 3 dragons. Not as big of a gold lead as you might expect. Only 1.6k. So it is still competitive. You want to look at the actual items in inventory when you're deciding whether or not to take these fights, right? In game, you're not getting this scoreboard up in top. You want to say, what is my gold in pocket, right? And you add about 500 gold for levels as well. Sometimes more if it's ultimate levels, right? 11 versus 10 is a very big difference. Check out the usable gold. We've got Annie on 2 items and stopwatch and lucid boots, right? And that's why she's been willing to make these teleport flash plays, because she has the boots of lucidity. Means that she can do this. It's off cooldown already. She's got her ultimate. Flash is coming up right now, and they're looking to take advantage of these fights. And again, this Kindred, we talked about this Kindred pick. What has Kindred done? We literally haven't spoken about them once. How do you play Kindred into this comp? You just kind of have to shadow for your team, because Annie at any given point might flash engage, and they have Wukong, Gragas, Braum to just CC up in the fight, right? So if you're Kindred, you need to be around, and yet you're trying to get farm for your stacks. So despite really having no good fight to speak of, is not up in CS either, has not been able to just power clear. And that is where I find the difficulty of Kindred and why I do not like her in pro play. All right, good job by Ruler flashing, not waiting for that to connect. Good job by Faker sniffing out the angle there. No real reason for Ruler to be up that far. Now, just because a flash is down, it doesn't mean that they don't want to fight. Here we go. Annie just flashing in again, saying, I want the perfect angle. I don't want to just take what you give me. But upfront damage, T1 does get the first one. They're able to keep multiple people alive here with Lamb's Respite, but Jinx is going to go crazy. And, oh, look at that juke to the left. Dodging the Q3 from Cassante means that Jinx is going to hard carry this fight. Look at her just keep going. This beautiful, beautiful orb walking. Somehow a term that has survived the antiquities of Dota, way back to original Dota. Just having any empowered ability meant that you wouldn't draw aggro, and you could actually animation cancel a little bit better. So if you had something like a empowered ability like a Jax W, for example, you could use it and then continue moving. Something that is stuck to the pro discussion here in League of Legends, but it just means hit and move, hit and move, hit and move, making it seamless as possible. Knight flashing in, getting the stun. Now, a little bit of potential miscommunication there, right? You saw Gragas ult came out at the same moment. Both of those tools would have been adequate to win this fight. You don't want to use them both. You want to have one of them for this. So this is about the best Kindred ultimate you can hope to get as T1, and it's still not good enough. As you see the action in that fight again. we're in the middle of taking stock of items, right? And largely that game gets won potentially by a half item, right? It is so hard to tell whether or not someone lives or dies by 1 HP. What if they kill Gragas one attack earlier? How does that fight change? It's a good little thought exercise to go into a fight, go into a VOD, and just say, what would happen if I had an extra pickaxe? And compare both teams and say, all right, how did this fight change based on time to death or time to kill of one singular target? What if it's an extra 2 seconds for that target to die? How does that change everything? In this case, they get Thresh, they get him quickly. It means that they're still in time to make a play here, and a beautiful play by Kanavi to dash forward, getting multiple knockups, and this is going to be a game-ending combination from them. Zeus a little bit too little, too late. Knight has been incredibly strong in this game, finding these windows, sniffing them out, playing on instinct, knowing what T1 is going to do seemingly before they do it, and pouncing on them the moment that they overstep. If you want to learn how to play Annie, just watch this game. Now, Kindred's ultimate is down, means that they don't need to worry about this tool. Something that you can do if you're a Kindred main, right? You can just jump into the Baron pit, use your ultimate to keep the Baron alive, then charge up your extra damage on your auto attack. And basically, after the heal pops out, you come out with execute damage plus smite. You can usually, depending on which champions are in the game, but usually secure yourself a Baron for the cost of your ultimate. But JDG not taking any risks, right? Making sure to control the territory, and they just do it fast enough anyways because of how much they're ahead here. Look at that smooth play. So that's an E-flash right there from Wukong. E-flash R. You don't wait for the buttons to connect. It would be too slow if you wait for it to see it happen, right? So you E-flash. That targets the E means when you flash, immediately upon landing, you dash. That's why it looked like Wukong just skated forward. Does an E-flash, knows it's going to connect, so it's E-flash R. The moment he goes, and that way you just slide in with the cyclone, boom, fly under people. You actually get a little bit extra sphere of influence with that play as well, using that movement with the ultimate, and just absolutely carrying the fight, showing the strength of Wukong, and realistically the difference in these team comps. Jungler, I'll just say it, good jungler versus not good jungler. Nothing wrong with Kindred and solo queue. I just absolutely despise this pick in pro play. I'm curious. I'd be curious to see the win-loss on it because I don't think it's good. Largely because it's paired with Galio too, and Galio's another champion that requires an insane amount of team synergy, and Kindred Galio being a pairing that I hope to never see again. I'm fine if like you have Gragas, if you have Camille especially, trap someone in and say, I'm going to jump on this, something that actually lasts long enough to make that happen. But such a difficult champion to make work, and has not been doing well at this tournament, and I don't really think it ever does well. So let's check out JDG's technique for ending here. Missing, stepping up, willing to take some damage, and it's okay because it's Braum. You get to stay alive. You use Locket. The window that T1 uses to step forward means that Knight gets to jump in and land another immaculate ultimate. Jinx goes crazy. They're going to carry this fight. Tibbers is going to be used to tank the hook from Thresh. And in they walk, victorious in game one. Just a masterclass from Annie. Ruler playing great apart from that one misstep. Missing, playing a very damn near perfect game on Braum as well. Shout out to all these players. Kanavi showing why he's, if not the best, one of the top 3 in the entire game. And Knight just standing above them all. Incredible.